Welcome to this really special edition of Cocktails Over Fashion that I have for you tonight. I just want to quickly say before we start, for those of you who don't know me, there are two things that I absolutely love. The first one is wine, obviously. And the second one is stories, human stories, more specifically and particularly African stories. And when it's from two African beautiful women, it's even more grandiose. So tonight I have amazing guests. I feel like we need to hear their story because it will definitely inform you, it will definitely inspire you, and it will definitely challenge you, which I think is necessary for us to share and contribute. So without further ado, I would love for you all to give a warm welcome to Sacha Okoh and Stefania Manfreda. For those of you who don't know, Stefania Manfreda is actually a designer and curator by profession, but she is the founder and owner of LOKKO, LOKKO 08, The Warehouse, The Container, and so much more goodness. So please, a round of applause for that. And we have Sacha Okoh, who is a beauty and fashion guru. If you've not seen her on Instagram, I don't know what you're doing with your life. And she is the founder of VIVA Concept Store, and she's the business partner and buyer of VIVA Boutique here in Osu with her mom. So please, a round welcome to Sacha Okoh. So ladies, I'm gonna turn around to you. Where did you grow up? And if you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
I grew up in Ghana till I was 18. Then I left to Italy for university and came back after I was done with that 10 years later. 3 words to describe myself, I'd say curious, a perfectionist, and very playful, I guess. That's another word I could use.
Sacha?
I went to school here till secondary, went to boarding school in London, university, and then got into banking for a bit, and then came back, got married, 3 kids, and I've been in retail since. Yeah. So I've been doing retail for 19 years.
For 19 years?
Yeah.
Wow, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, you're both incredibly accomplished women in the retail business.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned that you've been in the business for 19 years.
Yeah.
How long have you had been in the business, Stefania? And also, what did inspire both of you to go into this line of business?
I mean, with me, in school, I was always broke. So I always had a job, but it was much easier to get retail. I used to work in Topshop, French Connection, and then I used to work in Selfridges, and then I was a brand manager for Paul Smith. But my mom has always been into fashion and retail, so it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But I didn't think I would pursue it as a career. I just knew it was something I just did. But now that's my 9 to 5. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Stefania?
For me, and I was always obsessed with aesthetics in general. So it's something that since I was a kid, like ripping out magazines and keeping images and collecting when guests came out and those guest jeans and all that stuff. So my first experience in retail itself was a job I had during university in Italy. It was a tie shop, which was something I didn't think I'd end up working in. It was something unusual for me at the time. But then from there, after I graduated, I did work a lot in advertising with fashion companies. So that was an experience that I guess taught me a lot and gave me a bit of baggage that I would then use to now implement in what I'm doing. So I moved back to Ghana not for graphic design or anything creative. I was working in construction. But then I opened the shop at the same time. So I was working a full-time job, and then I opened the shop in 2008. Was just doing T-shirts initially. So it was just like me being a graphic designer, designing T-shirts and selling T-shirts. But it then evolved into a concept store because the community in Ghana at the time started now creating other items and other products that would then evolve into having a lot of choice and variety that we could add to the shop. So from 2008, basically, we've been in the field here on the ground in Ghana.
So you both have, I don't know if anybody here has been to both of your stores, but they're very popular and I would say definitely like leading stores in Accra to go to. They have a lot of similarities, but they're also quite different from one another. Did you always know who your clientele was, as in who is the VIVA boutique customer, who is the LOKKO store customer, and do you feel like it's something important to know beforehand, or do you feel like it's something that goes along, you know, that develops as you grow as an enterprise?
With me, when I joined Viva, it had a different clientele. It was a much older clientele. The selection of brands were more super high end. The price points were really high. So it was just basically targeted to a particular audience. Yeah. But then I came in broke, and so I'm buying stuff, I'm ordering stuff, and I'm like, I can't wear this, I can't afford this. And I realized that, you know, when the recession happened, people like to mix and match. So I kind of came in with a young flair that we can twerk. You know, we don't always have to do everything super high end. Yeah. But we've always done Western brands for the longest. It wasn't, I think that's how we started. I mean, basically that's how my mom started the business. Yeah, but then we're very current. We're trendy, current, and it's very transparent as well. So whatever we're selling or stocking, you can Google it. You can see the prices. We buy at the same time. We order at the same time during the fashion week or the buying week, you know. Yeah. But then our store is a multi-brand store. It has different price points now for different backgrounds. And I'm very glued onto what is trending, what would sell. Certain brands have been in the store for years. Others I've had to let them go because it wasn't so great. So I'm very picky with the brands we carry. Yeah. And yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
So for us, I mean, initially we started with a very streetwear type of brand. So our audience I was targeting the Ghanaian in general because I was trying to give the Ghanaian brand a different look, trying to make it have a little more value than what people assigned to it at the time. Like in 2008, it was like, oh, made in Ghana is crap, don't buy made in Ghana products, they're not good, they don't last, they're not finished well. So I just felt, you know, it's a pity, and why not do it? Yeah. So it was pretty much targeted at anyone that loved Ghana. And we quickly realized that there were a lot of people around the world that loved Ghana. Yeah. So initially I was just thinking Ghana locally, but then Ghana is everywhere. And we started getting requests from people abroad who either lived here or who are Ghanaian and were living outside, and they were like, oh wow, we want to have your stuff over here, how is it possible? Like back then it was just like, we'll figure it out, I don't know. Yeah. Then it started to become necessary to add something more feminine because it was very street style. So the girls were complaining a bit. You know, you only have t-shirts, we want more stuff, we want something different, we want more. So that's what made me start thinking about LOKKO as just like a feminine wing to the already existing brand. But by the time I got around to actually doing it, which was in 2015, it was actually a different concept. It now became, our tagline is Tropics and Modern. So I wanted to now look at the woman's lifestyle in our tropical, environment and the modern era we're living in. So it's very specific in, let's say, our approach and the concept that we tried to push forward. It wasn't just Ghanaian, it was more Africa-based. So we had a lot of brands from other countries as well. And I think we try to target the lady. That's kind of the look we go for and the vibe we try to put out. So the woman who's intelligent, who's independent, who thinks for herself, who's daring to try and do something on her own. A lot of the brands we started with were only women, be it for beauty products, be it for clothing, accessories. Like the beginning was really a very woman-based experience. And then it's evolved from there. things happen, and you evolve with the times.
Yeah. But actually, I wanted to ask you, because what I love about you guys, by the way, and I do want a round of applause for that, is that you support African designers, you support local designers, Ghanaian designers, and yeah, that deserves a round of applause, because...
Also for us, anyway, let me just back So there was a huge, there was a huge demand for African brands. So 2 years ago, we kind of launched 2 years ago, we launched 2 Ghanaian brands in the store, and it did really well. Actually, 2 African brands, I have to say. One was Nigerian and one was Ghanaian, and it did really well. There's a huge demand for it, and we're a store that follows the trend. We listen to our customers. I think it's really important to just look at your the environment you're in and be adaptable. So now, our customers, they want to wear something African, but they also want to wear something good quality. They want to wear something Western. I mean, you can't put them in a box. I wear kaba and sleeves and eat a burger the same way I could wear, like, you can't put it, these days things have changed.
No, absolutely, absolutely. But do you not think that, I'm not saying that it's a responsibility, because you do what you want to do with your store. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean?
But I think
but
because
I
of
feel
the
like
music, the food, I think everything has evolved, that it's trickled down to even my store as well. So as much as I own the store, the environment has kind of controlled how I should, run it in a way. Because people walking in now are asking for other brands, or they're on social media, they're asking, I've seen this brand in SA, it's so amazing, I traveled, why don't you have it in Ghana?
Yeah.
So.
So, but how do you go about choosing the designers that you want to work with? Like choosing the designers that you have in your store?
Quality. With us, it has to be running for at least 4 seasons. So and I have to see the product, feel it, price point, and it has to sync with what we are doing in the store as well. So
of course.
With everything else we sell.
Yeah.
And I have to be in love with the brand. So it's a personal thing.
So so you also, but that's great. You see, you're not selling something that you wouldn't probably like wear yourself.
I can't wear everything, but I think for my customer A, B, C, D, and E.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I have to sell as well. So it's not like a museum.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure that whoever I'm stocking, we sell it.
Yeah. And
for us, it's a lot of research. I spend a lot of time online, looking for brands and checking out their stories. Sometimes they contact us, as well, because maybe they've seen the shop and they like the aesthetic, or they feel like...
I was actually going to ask, like, if there's a designer here in the room that wants to, like, probably, like, show you some of their stuff, they can contact you online. Yeah. Or...
On the website, we have a form that says, stock with us. You fill it out. We'll look at your stuff, and then we'll get back to you if we like what you do. But the choice, again, we go through some criteria, because
of course.
In the beginning, we would kind of going very much by feeling.
Yeah.
A lot of the brands are also very young.
Yeah.
So we worked with a lot of brands that are up and coming, which in a way, it lets you help them, to develop their business side. A lot of them didn't really know what's up with that part. So they're passionate about what they're doing, but maybe they're not structured properly. And I don't blame them, because the landscape here is not that easy, to figure out what you're doing in that sense. So we try to support that way, at least giving advice where we can, and giving indications what to do.
For those who don't understand what a concept store is, who wants to give the definition of a concept store?
It's a lifestyle store. It's a lifestyle store that carries from art, fashion, beauty, books, and experience.
Yeah.
So basically that's what it is.
and then so you rent, so anybody can just rent your space and for any artistic endeavor.
Pop-up. So our store in East Legon, you can actually rent a space to do a pop-up, but it has to be related to the store.
Of course.
But yeah, and we do a lot of exhibitions as well in the store. So it brings a lot of people together. We do little seminars, workshops, so that's what we do in the store. Yeah.
And I know that, Stefania, you were like probably one of the first to do this, like with like the warehouse, the container right here, you know. So what made you feel, or what made you think that it was actually a very fruitful area to sort of like, you know?
That wasn't my thought at all.
You just went with the flow.
I'm just a busybody, and I was really missing my life in Milan
Yeah.
because I did university there, and the students there just kind of get busy doing their own thing where they want to have fun. It's an environment that allows for a lot of underground stuff to be going on, and I did participate in a lot of that. So I kind of brought that idea here, and going back to even like the concept store idea, I was inspired by Corso Como 10, which is like one of the concept stores, you know, in Milan that already do. They've been there for a long time. It's kind of like Colette, the same kind of thing.
Oh yeah, Colette. Yes, I know Colette.
So I used to go there a lot, and you know,
Yeah.
so I was always inspired by that, and I used to tell myself, well, I'm gonna have something like this in Ghana, but it's like wishful thinking kind of thing, not really like, oh, it's real. So it's funny that, you know, eventually things evolved into what it is now. But that was like what gave me the inspiration to have something of that sort.
Yeah.
And then
No, I was just asking, like, how did you come about? I mean, how did you think that
so
it could be
everything else,
fruitful
yeah.
here in Ghana? Because I mean, let's be honest, it's like it's already hard to have a store in Ghana,
Yeah.
and now you have a concept store.
I think
So I'm like, how do you manage both?
for
you
me,
know,
I had a full-time job, so that kind of covered my expenses, and which is what I used to invest in what I was doing. I also did graphic design freelance, so I was kind of doing 3 jobs at once for a long time. Again, not really focusing on the money side, but because it was something I just loved doing. I needed something creative as an outlet, and that was my thing. So it just made sense in a way, and people were responding to it. I mean, there was a time I wanted to shut everything down because I did get overstressed and overworked.
we all do.
And the only thing that kind of kept it alive was like, oh, I just thought it would be a pity because people really love the brand. So I just did it for that. Like, I just kept it alive because of that. And then eventually, you know, I left my job and I'm doing this full time because, you know, it's established.
Yeah.
But it was to do with the whole creative circles. I came back, I was missing a certain lifestyle. I wanted to just recreate that here.
Yeah.
So I kind of connected immediately with any creative I could find, like on Facebook when it came out in 2007. I was just adding all the photographers and all the graphic designers and anybody I saw was doing something creative because I was like, oh God, it's going on in Ghana too, wait. So I just kind of reached out to anybody, and it was easy at the time because Facebook was a different kind of landscape. It was actually people. So that made it kind of laid a foundation and gave us the contacts and the links we needed to then build something together with.
Do we have any questions? Yeah.
Hello. Aldo Blase over here. My question is a little bit controversial. Would you encourage African designers and artists to look beyond Africa for inspiration? My question stems from the fact that when you look at European designers, every season they choose a country, a culture, a religion, a tradition from which to gain inspiration. However, I find that often African designers stay within the continent probably to find some sort of encouragement or empowerment within themselves, however, limiting themselves to the boundary of Africa and therefore somehow tending to look the same, in my humble opinion. And that is my concern with African design and fashion. Would you encourage African designers to look at South America, New Zealand, whatever, for inspiration? And how do you feel that could, you know, evolve over time?
Thank you for your question.
Honestly, I think they should.
Wait, let me bring your.
Oh, hello. Honestly, I think they should look beyond Africa. They need inspiration comes from everywhere, as you said, and a lot of them are not taking risks. They are stuck in a box. So they've seen people, making money from what they're selling or design, and they feel like they need to, get a bit of that. But I think once you're able to know who your brand is and you stand out, trust me, sky's the limit.
Now that you're done,
Sorry.
do you want to add?
No, I think it's important to not box ourselves. Also because this whole definition of what African fashion or African design is very weird to me. It kind of stereotypes us all the time. And I wouldn't like for our creatives to be thinking that way, that we have to represent Africa with a certain stereotypical look. There's a lot of brands that I choose specifically because they don't have that approach to what they're doing. And I mean, design is design. Being creative is limitless. You have to look at everything, not just, safe zones or safe spaces.
Yeah, and I know Alima Bello, she's in the house. Yes. Alima, get up.
Hi, Alima.
But we had an amazing Cocktails Over Fashion talk with her, and it was one of the questions was also like she doesn't use African print that much, and it's like, how much of an African designer are you if you don't use African print? And that's a funny thing.
Controversial. I don't wear African prints. I've never worn it, but simply because.
But you wear African designers, though.
I do, but because I don't like the texture.
Yeah.
I like soft fabrics. I like to feel very comfortable. That's my thing. I like comfort. So, the fabrics we use a lot of times for maybe the wax prints or our batik is quite stiff, and it makes me not want. So Osai Duro, for example, when they came out, I loved it because it was the texture I wanted to feel on my skin. And it goes with my look because I'm very minimal in the way I dress. I don't like,
well,
very
not tonight,
bright.
darling. Not tonight.
Hello. This is my mom's, by the way. It's older than me. It's like something from way back.
I always get all my mom's stuff, so shout out to the moms in the house. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not necessary to have to look African.
Yeah. I mean, I love prints, but I don't like to wear a lot of prints. I think it costs more money. But I wear prints, but I can't wear it as often as I would like compared to just wearing a plain block outfit. But
it's your personal style,
Yeah, exactly.
But
personal style. But I just find a lot of people just assume that to be an African designer, you need to work with the African print.
Yeah, and it's not that like that.
It's good to see people breaking boundaries also. We have brands that, okay, we don't have to necessarily look like that, so they're experimenting.
Yeah.
And that's where the fun is.
Yeah.
You're coming up with something that's completely, totally new by taking concepts from here and mixing them with maybe a different kind of fabric that we've never worked with on this continent.
I also say the designers are not thinking, they're not eco-friendly, they're not conscious.
I mean, we have a lot more designers that are doing that. We have a lot more designers
using natural
that are.
dyes.
We have a lot more designers that are.
It's starting to be on the upturn.
Absolutely.
Obviously, it's a slow process.
And I also want to say, in response to your question, that we have a lot of designers that are influenced by so many different cultures and everything, but visibility is an issue. Like, you know what I mean? You might not know about them. That's the thing. And it's not everybody's on Instagram, or not everybody can showcase their stuff, or is ready enough or confident enough to like come to Sacha or come to Stefania and say, please, can you look at my work? Because I know so many amazing designers, by the way, that don't even see the talent that they have. And they're like, oh, I could never approach Sacha. I could never approach Stefania, which is good. You need to like be the boss ladies that you are. But at the same time, it's like, no, you need to have that confidence as well. But the thing is, along the way, you need the confidence. So if you're not ready, then I would say don't do it. You need to have the confidence because it's a hard business. It's a shark world. It's not easy. So I would say, wait and get the confidence, and then do it when you're ready, when it feels right. What are one of your most memorable moments in your life, in your career? One of the most memorable moment? Just one.
I don't know. There's a happy customer. When they're happy and...
Oh, tear.
When they give you reviews, or when they're like, oh, we had an amazing experience in the store, or I found the same thing when I traveled. Oh my God, you have it here. Oh, I don't need to travel. I don't need to buy when I travel anymore. It's really nice because we wanted to bring a bit of the West into Ghana, so you can experience it. So it's really nice. I have clients who actually shop before they go on holiday.
Oh, that's
So
that's
when
so
they
cool.
travel, they can actually experience a good holiday. They don't want to spend their time shopping.
That's
But
amazing because people usually go to shop,
No.
and you have the clients that shop before they go.
A lot of them
amazing.
shop as well. So they can have a better experience when they travel.
Yeah.
Because shopping is stressful. I don't know about you guys, but it's so stressful and it's tiring.
Yeah.
It's super tiring. So a lot of them who are in the corporate world as well, they buy everything before they travel.
And not everybody has, like, maybe here as well, they feel like they have the assistance necessary, and not everybody knows what suits them.
And I think the coolest thing is when they reach out to you that I couldn't find it in Selfridges. Do you have it? And they're like, yes, we do. Yeah, but
it's here in Accra.
It's here. Or maybe we're wearing something African. It's like, oh, I want one. I want two.
Yeah.
It's also really nice. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for tonight. Sorry about the heat. I'm not in control of Ghana weather, but
Agbano no de kakwe